If you love Baltimore sports, you'll love WNST.net.
WNST.net, 410-481-1570. If you have anything you want to talk about sports later, go ahead and give me a call. This is Geoff Peckham here, participating in the Baltimore King of Baltimore Sports contest here at WNST. Before we get started, I want to talk a little bit All Tune and Lube. Did you know that All Tune and Lube on Reisterstown Road in Owings Mills does air conditioning repair? Get your car's AC checked before that first 80-degree day, which is coming sooner than later, I bet. Go to All Tune and Lube at 9629 Reisterstown Road in Owings Mills, across the street from Coons Lincoln Mercury. All Tune and Lube on Reisterstown Road. Go to alltuneandlube.owingsmills.com for coupons and promotions. Okay, so this is actually a pretty fun day to be hosting a Sports Talk radio hour, especially after the weekend we just had. We were talking about it a little bit before the break. What happened this weekend? We've had NBA playoffs, we had Stanley Cup playoffs, we had golf tournament, the Quinley Cup, I believe it was called. We had the Kentucky Derby, and of course we had the Baltimore Orioles play. And it's interesting to think about because as a Baltimore sports fan, you want to be sure that you're always there for the Orioles, that you're always going to watch them, and that you're always going to be there to support them. But on a day like Saturday, when there was so much going on, and the O's, they're in the middle of this skid, which it tends to be a little discouraging. What do you watch? And as I said before the break, I watched the Capitals because it was Stanley Cup, which in my opinion is one of the most fun playoffs in any major sport. It's one of the most unique championship trophies to win. And I could watch that. I could watch two of the premier stars in the NHL, Alexander Ovechkin and Sidney Crosby, go at it. Or I can watch the O's drop another one in the ninth. And when the summer rolls around and baseball is pretty much all we have, I'm going to watch more of the O's, and I do watch them on a regular basis. But ironically enough, I will get into them more as the season goes along, even if they aren't winning as much. And I wrote about this in my blog yesterday, I guess, after they lost again, after George Sherrill was unable to get the save. It gets a little frustrating at times when the Orioles, they start off so strong and then they just fizzle out, sooner than later. And I myself have had a little bit of optimism these past few years because that point where they just kind of drop, where it just realizes, it's not going to happen. To me, it's been coming a little later than usual each and every season. Like that point where it just becomes hopeless. A few years ago, it might have come in the middle of June. And then the next season, it doesn't come until July. And we just keep getting farther along, and I keep thinking to myself, okay, they're almost there, they're almost going to get it. This season we're not getting that, and you read all the analysts and the pundits, and they talk about the Orioles, and the way they talk about the rest of Major League Baseball, and they try to tell you, what we can expect from the Orioles, what we can expect from the other teams in the league. And all we heard in the offseason leading up to opening day was pitching. The Orioles just aren't going to have it. And even though it was hammered down our throats, doesn't mean it wasn't true, and we're seeing that now. We're seeing that with, last year's lone all-star George Sherrill. He's been struggling a little bit. And we've got the bats. We've got Nick Markakis. We've got Brian Roberts. We've got Ty Wigginton, who I think is doing a really good job. And we've got Luke Scott. We've got some quality guys who are hitting the ball. We've just got some quality guys who are hitting the ball against us, too. So that can get a little frustrating as well. But enough about baseball, enough about the frustration that's coming along with that. We could talk a little bit golf if you like. But first, we got a phone call coming in. Sorry, we do not have a phone call coming in. 410-481-1570. If you want to call in, anybody, please do. Talk about anything you'd like to. Golf, baseball, Orioles. If you disagree with something I said, if you've totally lost hope, or if you'll never lose hope, go ahead and let me know what you think, and we'll talk about it a little bit. Anyway, something that kind of got lost in the shuffle a little bit on Saturday, I think, between all the great hockey games and all the great basketball games and the Kentucky Derby, which you only get once a year, was Tiger Woods playing again. And on Saturday, it was starting to look like, it would be Tiger and Phil going at it again on Sunday during that last round. And it didn't quite work out that way, but it's still fun to watch. It's still fun to think about the number one golfer in the world and the number two golfer in the world potentially going at it for 18 holes on Sunday. But at the end of the day, it was Sean O'Haire who got it going, and something that I really enjoyed seeing, because I feel like we don't really see it that often from Tiger, because when Tiger loses, he tends to become a bit of a grump. He doesn't really be all that social. When Tim O'Hare won, he was there, the first one to greet him and gave him a hug and congratulated him and all that, and that's good to see from Tiger, because as competitive as Tiger is, when he can reach out a hand like that and congratulate somebody, that's what makes sport.
If you love Baltimore sports, you'll love WNST.net.